Information Security in the 21st Century, Hacker Empire Against the Helpless Users, Part 6, Anatoly Klepov, the president of Ancourt Company. Today, I would like to continue talking about information security. Recently, there have been many discussions on the threats of information security in the mass media and in public speeches of different Western politicians, particularly the Americans. For example, in the USA, the problem of cyber terrorism is getting the most attention, overshadowing usual terrorism. But it is different in other countries. Why? The main reason for it is that the citizens of other countries don't know about the importance of information security and the dangers of ignoring it for every person and company. Obviously, this situation can be explained by the fact that the mass media do not pay enough attention to the importance of protecting personal information. There are many discussions about the necessity to protect personal information, but very often these conversations do not result in any practical actions. This can also be said about high-ranking government officials, whose private information has to be protected at high level. A good example can be the former CIA director, David Petraeus, who had to leave the post because of his letters that he sent via regular email. Looking at it from a philosophical point of view, we can say that to provide effective protection against any kind of threat, informational, physical, or infectious, it is necessary to research the dangers of this threat and provide citizens with steps to take to protect themselves. I will give you an example. We all know that from childhood on, people are used to washing hands for hygienic reasons. It allows people to avoid mass epidemics like those in the Middle Ages. Here is another example. If various countries hadn't developed a mass promotion of the fight against AIDS, including school campaigns, and hadn't informed people on means of having protected sex, undoubtedly the number of people perishing from this disease worldwide would be catastrophic for our civilization. Prevention is the correct approach for any safety problem, which can be said about any variation of the issue: fire safety, environmental protection, etc. With the help of mass media, for example television and social networks that people tend to trust, people need to be thoroughly informed about the gravity of the problem of personal information protection. What do we know from the mass media about information security? For the first time, in August 2012, U.S. President Barack Obama declared that 70% of American companies have no safety systems. He gave a simple example that it is necessary to close the apartment door, as this will decrease the chance of burglary. The same can be said about information security. People have to learn how to protect their personal information. It is interesting to analyze how the mass media, including movies which attract hundreds of millions of viewers, portray the lack of necessity to provide information protection. For example, let's take the extremely captivating movie Ocean's 13. In this movie, criminals use the most modern technical means to rob a casino. They use something close to a biological weapon. But it is very peculiar that in the movie, the main characters discuss the most important details of the robbery, including the robbery date, using an ordinary phone. In almost every modern detective movie, secrets are discussed on ordinary telephone communication lines. Actually, there is a secret ban for the heroes of movies to use cryptographic equipment for information protection. Even in the popular series about the super agent 007, James Bond, who works for the British Secret Service and struggles with the most dangerous terrorists, uses ordinary mobile phones for communication. It isn't shown in the movies that James Bond uses any cryptographic equipment. Is it a coincidence? An accident? Probably not. Through such movies, people form the impression that it isn't necessary to protect their information. Personal information has to be always open, probably for government bodies. The paradox is, on the one hand, we claim that it is necessary to be protected from hackers who annually multiply their profits exceeding the income of drug barons. On the other hand, mass media diligently suppresses the necessity to protect the personal information of each individual. A similar phenomena takes place in Russia, with this example coming to mind. In his TV shows, Vladimir Solovyov, the well-known journalist and publicist, often discusses the issues of listening in. Once, during a discussion with Boris Nemtsov, whose phones had been tapped, he asked Nemtsov, "Why don't you use a telephone protection system?" After just a little bit of pondering, Nemtsov answered, "But it is so expensive." Solovyov has never raised the issue of information security in his shows or interviews after that episode. He was more interested in the scandals connected with the illegal wiretap of phones. This is what everyone is fascinated by. Who was tapped? How are they monitored? At this point, a reasonable question arises. Why do people lock the doors to their apartments? Obviously, they want to be protected from thieves. And if people don't protect their personal information, what do they rely on? That hackers will be noble? This is absurd. A thief remains a thief, no matter what name you call him. In the Russian mass media, the same situation is observed. There are no modern Russian movies where heroes use any systems of information security, not even mentioning telephone encryption equipment. Possibly, there is a strict taboo imposed on it in Russia. If this situation continues, I doubt that any course on information security for a limited group of people will be able to improve the critical state of the personal information protection field. People will remain ignorant, discussing intimate details of their lives via unprotected communication channels. Until one day, hackers, preying upon their trustfulness and inexperience, steal or distort that important information that their health, welfare, and sometimes even life depends on. The first step is to alter our policy on information security for individuals to match the information security policies of companies and businesses. Using the mass media, it is necessary to thoroughly inform people about modern systems of information security and the necessity to use them. Only then will we be able to get any real protection against hackers. It is the cornerstone of personal freedom for each and every one of us, and the only way we can build a free country independent of hackers and other crime.